Hello, family. Welcome to Thriving Couples by the Dindies, the place where we keep marriage real, fun, and fulfilling. We're your hosts, Keith and
Esther Dindi.
Thank you for joining us today, and we are so excited to finally get our podcast going. It's been a long time coming, and here it is. Yeah, it's really exciting to finally get the Thriving Couples by the Dindies podcast going. It's been a long time coming, and it's just exciting that finally here we are. Yeah, there's so many members of our community who've been asking, hey, when are you getting a podcast out? When are we going to find you guys on YouTube? And finally, the day has come. But probably there are many people who do not know about Thriving Couples by the Dindies. They do not know about us. So probably we can start by at least just letting people know who we are. And as they say, ladies first.
Wow, it's really exciting to be doing this. It's been a long time coming, almost overdue. I am Esther Dindi. He's the Dindi. I am a mother of 3 twins plus 1. I'm a medical doctor by profession, a consultant physician in internal medicine. And I am an entrepreneur and excited to be doing life with this gentleman. So I believe that we're going to be sharing our lives with you, and maybe you're going to pick some inspiration from this.
Fantastic. The Dindi she was talking about, father to Joshua, Darlene, and Caleb, our lovely kids. We've been married now. It will be 18 years in a few days' time.
Oh, yes.
So probably you might be watching this in the new year. So that will be 18 years down the line. And it's been an exciting journey, just doing life with this lovely lady. I'm a medical doctor as well, consultant, cardiothoracic surgeon. Really love people's hearts, so love touching hearts, both figuratively and in reality. I've touched many hearts.
Yeah, for sure.
So we are the Dindies, and we're really passionate about the marital space. Probably, yes, girl, you could say, when did we start getting involved a lot in these aspects of marriage?
I would say we've always been passionate about love, and so from all the way back in medical school where we started courting, Keith proposed to me when we were in second year. We courted through medical school. Our parents ensured that we were done with medical school before we could get married, and we allowed them to hold us accountable in that regard. And but even back then, we somehow found ourselves offering counsel to fellow students who are also dating or courting. And then fast forward to when we got married, and we found ourselves interacting with many young and older couples, learning from the older ones and also from the younger ones. There's a lot of inspiration in that, but really we were keen on just inspiring other people who were surprised that with every passing day, you'll be surprised that someone is like, you're this excited about each other at 5 years, at 7 years, and as you go along, you realize there are people looking up to you, and that has been the case for us. And so we realized, why not share this fragrance of exciting marriage that we've been experiencing through the years. So we are really passionate about this space, and we just love to see other people enjoying the love relationship in marriage.
Oh, absolutely. And I think the thing that we love to do is just to share our life. We like to say we are not prescribing information. We're just describing our experiences.
Oh, yes.
Hoping that people can get inspiration from the experiences that we've had. And so we do life. We're just kawaida people enjoying life. We've had some challenges, but we've been able to have a really fulfilling relationship. So for a long time, we've always felt, why not share what we're experiencing with others, especially because there's so much negativity out there.
Oh, yes.
These days, when you talk about marriage, there are even people who think that it's an old-fashioned notion.
That it's really a scam.
Yeah, there are people who keep saying, mtaachana too. So we felt we've enjoyed our life together, and why not bring a positive aspect to this whole marital space where people can look at us and say, these are real people. They're professionals just like us. They're not celebs, they're just kawaida people, but they're doing life and they're enjoying life, and maybe get inspired that this is something that even any other couple can get to experience. So this is really why we thought of starting the Thriving Couples space. Maybe you can talk about just the journey we've had with Thriving Couples over the last few years.
Okay. During the pandemic, we found ourselves slowing down because there was the lockdown and all that. And, we were not able to be rubbing shoulders and interacting with as many couples as we'd always been used to. And so we kept feeling that we need to do something and be able to create a space where people can feel very comfortable about celebrating their love in marriage. And so as we kept thinking about this, we realized that during the pandemic, people were shifting onto the digital space. And so I must say, it was really your idea that we start a Facebook group. And I wasn't so sure how it was going to be received. But we were like, well, we just put it out there and see. And at the beginning, we thought we were going to have just a few members, just a small group that's going to be intimate. But we were just shocked when we put it out there. And there's actually the thirst for true love, for true inspiration, for seeing people just doing real life that is very ordinary yet so exciting. And so we ended up having a group with almost close to 0.7 million members. And we feel very blessed to see people happy, celebrating their anniversaries, sharing what has really worked for them, and just seeing people some have been married for much longer than us. Some are celebrating their 30th, their 40th, wedding anniversary. And of course, there are very many more people who have been married for shorter durations, but they are drawing inspiration from this and learning from other people. And so it's been exciting to just see the growth that has happened in that space and just changing the narrative. I always get very excited when I read a comment by someone saying, "You've truly changed my thinking around marriage. You've really made me believe that marriage works." And it does work when the two work together. So.
Absolutely. And I think for me also, just what has been really exciting is meeting people. When you've done physical events, or even, people stop us in the supermarkets,
airport,
on the roads, in and out of Kenya, just strangers coming up to us and saying, "Hey, we are members of your group. And because of what you guys share, our marriages are better, that we are feeling like our marriage is enriched." So for me, that has been really exciting. And so part of what we're trying to do now in the audiovisual space is really to get a new platform to share the same message. So the very same raw, candid conversations that we've always had in the group. The group members know we are very open. Some of the topics that people consider taboo, we like to talk about it. Kivumbi, we like to put it out there. So we love to have real conversations on real issues that affect real people in this relationship space. And that is what this space is going to look like. You're going to hear lots of stories. In the future, we're going to interview other couples right here. Just really stories that we are going to be inspirational to show that love is not dead. Mm-hmm. Relationships are not dead. Marriage is not a scam. You can actually enjoy the marital life.
And just to highlight the fact that really there's no magic, there's no secret recipe for marriage. It's just the simple things that we tend to just ignore. Recently I just shared a post about some 10 habits that we usually practice that have been very helpful for our marriage, and people are just surprised. It's the ordinary things, and so they're not secret. It's just to encourage you to realize they're just the simple things. I was also amused yesterday. I was shared this post, and sweetie, this is not to encourage you to keep dropping your socks everywhere, but I found a pair of his socks, used socks, under the dining table. He just removes them anywhere, and I took a photo of that and sent it to him, and his response was that love covers a multitude of sins. I couldn't rest. I just laughed. That was really de-escalating. But, I was just surprised at the response the women had, because it's these small things that sometimes can be irritating, but with time you realize that do not sweat the small stuff. If someone is doing right in the things that could be deal breakers. Celebrate those ones as you work on making these others better. So it's exciting to be in this space, and it's just good to realize it's simple things that any couple can practice and be able to enjoy their marriage.
Fantastic. And now, at that note, this being our very first episode, I wanted still for us to give our listeners, our viewers, our community, our family a bit of value. So we guys are celebrating our 18th anniversary in a few days' time. And so I thought we could maybe share with people what are the 5 things for each of us that we consider the most important that have really contributed in us having a very fulfilling relationship. So this is how we're going to do it. Esther, I don't know what the top 5 things for her are. So she's going to write them down on her notebook. I will also write mine, the top 5 things on my notebook. She has no idea what I'm going to write. And then we are going to exchange those. So she will read what I've written. I'll read what she has written. And then we'll share with you guys.
Okay, that sounds good. Let's do this.
Let's do this. See you in a bit.
Okay.
Awesome, family. We are back. So Esther here wrote her top 5 things that she considers these things have really helped us to have an amazing relationship over the last 18 years. And I've also written my top 5. So I don't know what she's written. She doesn't know what I've written. So we'll do the glorious exchange now.
I hope I can read your handwriting.
I really tried to have
it's like exchanging the rings. Huh?
Yes,
oh, okay.
yes. Okay, so and 1 and 2 and 3. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
It's really interesting. All right. So for those who probably are listening to the podcast, they can't see what we've done. We've just exchanged our notebooks. And so I'm now having Esther's notebook where she's written the top 5 things that she feels have really helped us in this marriage. And she's looking at mine. And so this is how we'll do it. We'll go ladies first. So she'll read what I wrote as my first the first important thing that I consider this has really helped our marriage. And I'll explain why I think that is critical. Then I'll read what she's written as her first one, and we'll dash through the 5.
Okay.
All right. Time for the great reveal.
Wow. So I'll go through the first one. Okay. What's striking is that our top 5 are very similar. Now that I know what I wrote and I'm seeing what you've written. But anyway, your point number 1 was knowing God. What do you really mean by this? And how has that really helped in our marriage?
I think having a common faith in God has been critical in our relationship. The values that we have, I think they really define everything you are. That's why we look at marriage not as a contract, but we look at it as a covenant between the two of us and God. So I think just having God as that overarching pillar, even when I'm unhappy, when something has happened and I feel like I want to go crazy, I run back to God. So I think having God as really the core unit in our marriage has made all the difference. And so when I look at it's interesting because what you've written as your first thing here is common faith and spirituality. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, well, it's interesting that we put the same thing at the top. And of course, in support of what you've already said, I would say I look at us as, between the two of us and God, having a covenant in marriage with God at the center of it is like a 3-corded strand. Like when you have a rope that is not just twisted, but into 3-corded strands, it's stronger. And one thing I have observed is that anytime we are really, keen on our devotions and having those spiritual habits, reading the Word of God, and that's reading the Bible and praying in, as individuals and as a couple, it brings us together. So I look at us as this this triangle where we are at the base and God at the apex. So every time we are moving towards God, every time we are keen on prayer and our spiritual practices focused on God, we tend to draw together because we are then headed to the apex of the triangle. So that has really made a lot of difference. And it's our blueprint, because if you have no compass, then you can't tell whether you have a true north. So for us, knowing God, knowing the word of God, that the Bible is our blueprint, then we have something we can go back to and see, are we doing things the right things? So, yeah.
Fantastic. I love that. Number 2, this time I'll start with what you've written, then you'll go. Number 2, the thing that you wrote as the second most important thing in your mind in our marriage is mutual commitment to our marriage. Could you explain that a little more?
Okay, this means that mutual commitment is that we are equally yoked together, that we are both in this for the long haul. That when we came into marriage, we didn't have a second plan. We didn't have plan B or plan C. So that helps, because if you're having a disagreement, you're like, we have to resolve this. We are two people that love each other. We are committed to stay in this marriage together. And that means that I pull my weight 100%, you pull your weight 100%. And that has really made a lot of difference. So I don't feel like I'm laboring to keep this marriage going. Neither are you doing that alone. So we're in this together as a team, and that makes a lot of difference.
Fantastic. I think the other aspect of that is that means the only way you win is when you win together.
Oh, yes.
So it's not your individual win. It's not my individual win. It's really we. So that I moving to we, I think that really speaks about the commitment we have on this marriage.
Yeah. And so I'll move on to your number 2, which was respecting one another. Please elaborate.
For me, respect is really important. I think, I actually think that respect is more important than love.
That's a man speaking, sisters. That's a man speaking.
Because I think you can love many people, but you don't respect everyone. So when you have a base of respect, you can then build a real strong relationship. If you don't have a base of respect, whatever fancy thing you do, it will always crumble with time, because the foundation, at a very strong foundational level, respect must be the boulder, the cornerstone that then builds this relationship. So for me, if there is no respect, there is no relationship. And I feel it has to be two-way. I respect you and you respect me. Then everything else can build upon that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Then number 3. This is really interesting.
It's interesting because that's
oh my goodness.
Number 3 and number
this
3.
Is very interesting.
Number 1 and number 3, we are on the same point.
Yeah. All right.
Tell them.
So number 3 here, you've written physical intimacy.
I shouldn't be I should read yours first then. Okay. So you have written number 3, amazing sex, sizzling intimacy. And I wrote physical intimacy.
Yes. So would you care to explain?
I thought you were going fast on this.
Apana, ladies first.
Okay, physical intimacy. One thing I strongly believe that there's nothing as special and as bonding as is sex in marriage. And I know many of us sisters, especially brought up in church, you were just told usimnyime or take it. That's not how I was counseled, but I've counseled with many ladies who kind of were inhibited in that area because they are Christians, they are doing everything right, but this is not an area they felt free to enjoy within their marriages, and because it was made to look like this is something for the man, but hey, sex is good and should be enjoyed by both the wife and the husband. So and because it's really bonding, it's very relaxing, it's that thing that brings you together if you've been apart for whatever reason. And it's not just for making babies, so it's just a special place. And then, of course, more than the sexual act in itself, physical intimacy is very important. I said physical intimacy because, of course, as a couple, you can have different love languages, but touch is still important, even to someone whose primary physical language is not touch. So just having touch, even at times you may not be able to commune sexually, is very important. Let me not go on.
Keeping the erotic side of the relationship alive.
Very important.
So it's not just sex, it's a whole continuum. And I think in other episodes of this podcast, we'll be talking a lot about the whole aspect of erotic intelligence. But for me, there's something that we like to say, that as long as the bed checks, the house remains stable.
Yes.
Yeah, so just to mean when there is lots of physical intimacy happening in the house, then that marriage tends to do well. I think it was God's idea, the glue that keeps the couple together. So for me, I think this marriage, we've had an amazing sexual relationship, and it's definitely one of the things that has helped us have an amazing marriage.
Yeah, and so before you go to number 4, I think I would add is that if a couple is not having good sexual intimacy, then they need to find out what else could be going on that could be affecting that area, because it's a culmination of many other factors, and the relationship as a whole matters a lot.
True. Great. Number 4, I'll let you go first.
Your number 4 says intellectual intimacy. Tell us more.
I love intellectually stimulating conversations. So even before getting married, I knew I wanted to marry a girl with brains.
Oh, that's me. Guys, a girl with brains.
I like to say, the gray matters more than the other matter core. Yes. Yeah, so for me, just being able to have stimulating, engaging conversations like we do. I like that you read a lot. Then we're able to discuss what you're reading. I like that we can have even engagements, disagreeing, different opinions about certain topics. And then you discuss your points with a lot of intelligence that I find very stimulating. So for me, in this marriage, just the fact that you're a sharp lady, professionally, when you discuss medical things, you have your points together.
We the physicians, the medical physician.
So
let's not
for me, just as a person, I just felt I wanted someone that we could have very intelligent conversations together, and I'm excited that has been part of our marriage. Your 5th point was conflict resolution skills. Can you tell us about that?
Well, it's interesting because it builds up on your number 5, which was great communication. And just being able to communicate well is a skill that will be very helpful in resolving conflicts, because in marriage, conflict is a must. It's guaranteed. If you're not having conflicts, then really you're not relating, because it means you're either sweeping things under the carpet, you're ignoring issues, and the risk of that is that you build resentment. And so definitely you're 2 different people with different personalities like we are. So with their disagreements, and disagreement, the interesting thing with that is that you just do not agree on something, and you might never need to agree on it. Sometimes it's like, if Keith tells me that's lime yellow, and I'm like, no, I think it's whatever other yellow. Although for Canvas, we know yellow very well. But anyway, it could be that we settle on that. You think that, I think otherwise, and it's not anything that's going to affect our marriage. But then conflicts could be things like, hey, maybe I'm spending too much on something that might not, be adding value. And maybe we are, it's just an example of something that is not comfortable. Or like for us, I am an introvert. This is a good example. And Keith is an extrovert. Sometimes he wants us to go out somewhere and have to, maybe I'm not in agreement for whatever reason. There are just things that you'll have a back and forth, and the other things that you'll have disagreements, the other things you'll need to resolve issues. The thing is, we had to agree on one. If someone has something that they feel uncomfortable about, is that you talk about it. And if I have a complaint, he will listen to me. If I don't feel like he's understood me, we'll push further and until I get to the point that I feel, yeah, you've heard me, right? And then we see how we can resolve that. We have some bare minimums when it comes to conflict, that there's no name calling, there's no raising your voice. We've really grown in this area, and there's no, dragging in issues that happened, I don't know how many years ago, and there's no bringing in relatives who are not involved in this. Some people start saying, even your mother, all those things that are not necessary. So we just respectfully address issues. And this has been very helpful when going back to our number one, which is the shared faith, just being respectful, remembering that we are Christians, we have the fear of God in us. We don't use, we don't curse. There's a language we just do not use. And that makes it very easy that we resolve issues with respect. So at the end of the day, it's addressing the issue, like he had said, and not the person, not attacking the person. We deal with the issue. And the language we tend to use is that I feel unhappy or I feel disappointed. It's not you have done this, it's like this and this happened and you did this and I felt, And when you address from a point of feelings, it's easier to sort out that issue without the other person feeling attacked. Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah. So it's amazing. Our top 5. There are so many commonalities. I think it's because of sleeping in the same bed.
These are sexually transmitted.
Yeah. Sexually transmitted ideas.
Yeah.
We're going to stop there for today. We just wanted to get our first podcast out. We are really excited about that. We just wanted for our community to know that, yes, here we are. There'll be many more coming through. We are going to discuss a lot of these topics in great detail. Thank you so much for being part of this first one. You guys who watched the first episode will always remember you. Now do this for us. I want to see who would be the first person to comment down there. And when you comment, if you're part of the Thriving Couples community, just say Kivumbi Thursday. We will know that you're part of our community. And if you want to ask any questions, or if you have a topic that you'd want us to discuss in the coming episode, please let us know in the comments as well. God bless you all. See you next time.
And share with others. See you on the next one.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.